Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Carrie Roldan Show. I'm your host, Carrie Roldan, and I'm a wife, a mother, a best-selling author, a personal growth junkie, and your total business BFF. And here at the Carrie Roldan Show, we spend about 15 minutes or so having conversations that matter to the entrepreneur's body, mind, and business. And I am so excited to have today's conversation with my guest, Anita Marchesani, because one, she's amazing. She's been a dear friend of mine and the show since the very beginning. I think she was one of my first or second show guests when I started this show almost 2 years ago. But Anita is a licensed psychologist. She's been an executive coach for the past 14 years. And has recently developed something that I'm super excited to share with you. It's called the 40-Day Pursuit of Happiness Project. So we're going to talk about that today, but before we do, I thought I'd put her beautiful face on the screen and have Anita say hello. So Anita, go ahead and unmute yourself and say hello.
Hi everybody, I hope everybody can hear me and I'm unmuted. It's great to see you again, Carrie. Yeah, I think I was your second guest actually, way back in the old days.
Isn't it? Well, oh, go ahead. I was just gonna. Isn't it funny that the old days was 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys watching should know Anita and I are having a little bit of feedback issues, so we're muting back and forth as we're talking. So if you get a second delay in the conversation, just bear with us. So Anita, Pursuit of Happiness Project. We were just talking before we went live with this broadcast about why this happiness project, one, just lights you up and is sort of, put just a new wind beneath your wings in your own business, but why it's such an important project because we were saying, doesn't everybody do everything because they think it will make them happy?
Harry, it's so funny when you said that. It didn't really dawn on me, but I think you're right. I think everybody does what they do to try to make themselves happy. And so what I, have just kind of put together is a program that is actually, first of all, science-based. There's a lot of research that shows that these specific strategies and techniques actually will make you happy. And I think we should probably define what happiness means too. So before we go too far, because one of the, myths of happiness is that it's an emotion, that it's a feeling. And, because we tend to say, oh, I'm happy, or, and I feel happy. And happiness, is part of emotion, like feeling joyful, excited, all that sort of stuff. But when I talk about happiness, I talk about it in the sense of a deep life satisfaction and fulfillment, contentment, that sort of thing. So it's a lot richer and deeper than simply a momentary or temporary emotion. So when people are chasing happiness, sometimes they're chasing a feeling. And what I want to do is kind of switch the conversation just a little bit and see if we can get people to pursue deep meaning, which a component of that sure is positive emotion. There's no doubt about that. But that's just one component of true life happiness.
So you bring up something that is near and dear to my heart because for the longest time I felt like I suffered from, and I wrote a book called Run Yourself Happy, where I talk a lot about happiness not being an outside thing, but it being an inside thing. And yet even so, I struggled for a really, really long time, even after I wrote the book, with this idea, or what I call I'll be happy when syndrome. This idea I'll be happy when I get this. If I can just achieve that, then I'll be happy. So I think it's interesting, right? Your program is called Pursuit of Happiness. And we as Americans know that's one of our rights as Americans is the pursuit of happiness. But I find so many of us are stuck in pursuit. We're constantly striving and never arriving at happiness, thinking that I'll be happy around the next corner, past the next milestone. So can you talk a little bit about that and how your program, which is science-based, can help us, those of us who are strivers, to find our happy and contentment and satisfaction, and maybe still continue to reach our goals?
Has a textured answer. So because actually the pursuit of happiness is in fact a journey. So it's not necessarily a destination. So when you talk about we try to do things because we think achieving something is going to make us happy, like that achievement or that destination is then happiness. And actually that's not the case. Happiness is kind of a continual deepening process. So you don't arrive at a certain level and then coast. So it's something that we just, as we pursue, we deepen the journey, we deepen our experience, and we give ourselves, I like to call it, when you talk about run yourself happy, when you're running, when we're exercising, we're making our bodies stronger, which makes us able to fight off disease and just be able to do our activities of daily living in a better way. It's the same with pursuing happiness. When we do the things that we know make us very profoundly content, satisfied, fulfilled, that actually makes us psychologically stronger. And so we're a little bit, and sometimes in many cases, a lot more resilient when we're faced with, maybe a blue mood or even out and out depression or anxiety or stress, feeling overwhelmed. Those life experiences happen, but when we really concentrate on doing the things that make us happy, and not emotionally happy, but satisfied happy, over the long run, we strengthen our psychological muscle, so to speak, and we make ourselves emotionally stronger. So that's really, and there's a lot of myths around happiness. So sometimes people think that, gosh, if I finish my degree, then I'll finally be happy, my college degree, or if I get that particular job, I'll finally be happy. Or my thing is, I kind of fantasize that if I move to my own island in the Bahamas, I'll be happy. Apparently, the research shows that if none of that's true, that there's a small bump in your mood when you do things, when you reach an achievement, when you have a goal and you reach that goal, there is a bump in mood. So it's not like it's not important and not edifying, but your mood actually tends to go back down to your baseline soon after that achievement. And that's why us achievers, because I am one of those too, we constantly want another goal to work towards, because we're seeking that high almost, or that high in my that boost in mood. And there's nothing wrong with that, except then we keep chasing that feeling. And what we're not doing is we're not being content, and we're not honoring the other portions of happiness, satisfaction, fulfillment that help us feel contented with what we're doing. And that kind of rounds out the whole experience of happiness. It kind of makes the emotional component of happiness, the joy, the satisfaction of achievement and excitement, engagement, absorption, all that sort of stuff. It makes it deeper and more relevant and more health protective, actually, because you know what, happier people are healthier and live longer too. So yeah, big deal.
So I am thinking, as you were talking, I was thinking about who this program, because you've created this amazing program that is launching really soon, I know, and is totally competitively priced. Like almost, I look at the page, which is Freedom Prescription / pursuit of happiness. Anita's face on the screen, you could see it again. Prescription.com, and it's under membership programs, and you it. But when I was thinking about, okay, so this is what I want, and especially there have been moments in my life I have what I thought I wanted, and I'm still unfulfilled. So whether that's like it happened a few times for me. It happened right when I graduated from college and like got my first job and looked around and went, are you kidding me? This is it? Like this is what was supposed to make me happy? And it happened again for me after my second child, where I'm like, okay, I have the husband, the house, the 2 kids by the time I was 30. But who is this program for? Like, is it for people who are at that moment of feeling unfulfilled, or is it, I'm just asking, who's it for?
I had to unmute myself before I forgot. That's a great question. And I hate, and this is violating all the marketing 101 rules that say, but it actually really is for just about anybody. But particularly if you feel like there's something missing, or there's maybe a component of your life in which you feel unfulfilled. It's funny that you talk about that there were times in your life where you thought you were going to be happy when you achieved something and you didn't, because I had that same experience. I knew my whole life that I wanted to be a psychologist, and I'm a very ambitious, goal-driven person. So I, went through, got my PhD, and got a faculty position actually at a teaching hospital on the East Coast. It was a very prestigious position. I was married, had 2 boys, and I kind of woke up one morning and realized, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was 32 years old, like way too early to burn out, like you think, but that's what had happened. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, just like you. And so you have to, so being happy really is also about being authentic. And so that's a component of this program. So anyway, it is, many of us, I think, have moments where we think, there's just, maybe there's something a little bit extra that's missing, or you're tired of doing the same thing over and over again and not really getting what you want out of it. And it's probably because you believe, or you're buying into a lot of the myths around the pursuit of happiness, that it's that your career will satisfy you, that your money will satisfy you, or your business is going to satisfy you. And not that any of those are unimportant. They're just one component. And so there's a lot of other things that you could be doing that you might not be doing, that would really flesh the whole picture out and actually have you develop that happiness that you're really looking for. So it's not that the things that you're doing don't matter. It's just that they're not enough. The whole picture has to be fleshed out. And that's what the program is all about. So it's for people who kind of feel like there's, just something that they could extra that they think there could be doing to deepen their level of fulfillment. It's actually better to talk who it's not for, because if you really need therapy, and I'm just being completely blunt here, so if you really need to be in counseling and therapy, this probably, not that it's not for you, but you need to make sure that you're also in therapy. Okay, so if you are really struggling with depression or kind of have debilitating anxiety, not that you can't benefit from this program, but it's really important that you also be meeting in person with a therapist, counselor, whatever. So that's kind of who it would not be for quite as much. If you have a background of depression and anxiety, you might want to consider doing this program, because having one episode of major depression makes it very likely that you're going to have another one at least in your lifetime. Same thing with anxiety. Like if you've had one panic attack, you're very likely going to have another one. I mean, it just kind of goes along. And so what the research into happiness and positive psychology has found that if we can teach you skills that help build your psychological muscle again, give you resources, internal emotional resources that help not necessarily prevent future depressive episodes, but make them not as severe and not last as long. So you're more resilient as you go through your tougher times. So I hope that answers the question.
It totally does. I'm actually keeping your face on the screen so people can see the link because it's a long one. So it's actually, I just noticed it's a secure link if you're using the link that Anita has on the page, which is no big deal. We just want you to have the time to copy it down. But you can always go to freedomprescription.com freedomprescription.com and look in the membership program area. So I'm going to go ahead and put my face on the screen really quickly. There is a neighbor child knocking on my door, and I'm not going to answer, but our time is just about up, Anita. So all I want to say to you who are watching is I know that there are lots of you who are millennials. There are lots of my people in my tribe who are watching this who are at that point where they're 2 to 5 years out of college and are in that spot where they're just like, really, this is it? Or they're feeling like, do I go to grad school? Do I what's the next thing for me? I don't think it's an accident that you're watching this video at this time, and Anita has this program priced so appropriately for you guys, so competitively, that I want you to check it out. And even if you're not a millennial, even if you're somebody who, I know there are so many of us who are entrepreneurs who started our heart-centered, purpose-driven businesses, and somehow it got away from us, and we're feeling like this isn't what we thought that it was going to be. I encourage you to check out Anita's program too, because I know her stuff, and I know that this is important. This is important for all of us, because whether it's starting a business or getting a job or, you know, getting married and having kids and buying the house and like getting the dream, right? If we're not fulfilled, that's not going to go away unless we deal with what Anita is helping people to deal with. So I encourage you, freedomprescription.com, and go to the membership area to find this link. I'll probably put the link, or wherever you're watching the video, I'll put the link around it as well. Anita, thank you for being here. I'm going to give you like a minute to say whatever you have to say before we go. Closing comments. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much, Carrie. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with your audience about this, I think, very important topic. It really is kind of the crux of everything. I think you actually nailed it right on the head when you said, you know, everything that we do, we're trying to be happy. Even with our kids, we think about what we want to do with our kids. We think, oh, we just want them to be happy. And so I want to give you the tools, strategies, and techniques that have been proven to build happiness. Now, not that after 40 days you're going to be like, you know, dancing on the clouds or anything, but hopefully it's a good jump start for you for the rest of your life. It'll give you tools that you can always use that will build those psychological resources.
Couldn't have said it better. So thank you, Anita. Thank you guys for watching. Click the link, check it out. It's so competitively priced. You're gonna love it. It's 40 days, and it just might make all the difference in your life now and for the next 40 years, because you'll have the tools and the techniques and the things that you need to do to basically raise that base level of happiness, which is what we all want. So thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.